Transition Radio TV brought to you by thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you could possibly need for your transgender or cross-dressing needs. Visit their website at www.breastformstore.com and tell them Transition Radio sent you.
The following ingredients include a look behind the scenes. Cook uncovered until hot. Add grooves to taste.
I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Once upon a time, there was a little girl.
The accident was over a year ago. A second woman has been elected president. A 12th planet has been named in the solar system. The last wild polar bear has died. I slept through it all. I was here for my waking. He called it a beginning. He said it was good. I think he may have thought that anything I did was good.
Welcome to Transition Radio, live from Hollywood, Florida, with your host and hostess, Mark Angelo and Jessica Lynn Cummings. Show for trans folks, by trans folks, here to let your voice be heard. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Transition Radio TV. We're so glad you're joining us for another edition. And today we have a very special and funny guest. Her name is Jessica Who de Leon. She is a creator of the blog Jessica Who. She quotes, "I am married." She's a married person who identifies as somewhere in between male and female and expresses this through art, comedy, fashion, and writing.
My wonderful wife loves and accepts me fully and also contributes to Jessica Who. In addition, my mother and several of my family members and friends are very caring and supportive of my gender identity and expression.
She studied computer engineering in college and enjoys playing video games, sports, comic books, and many types of music. She quotes, she's a comedian, filmmaker, podcaster, public speaker, and author.
Hi there, I'm Jessica Who, and yeah, I'm a dude. So let's face it, folks, men and women don't have a lot in common. The way we know that is through stand-up comics, always going on and on about how men and women are just so different. But you know what? I don't even think they begin to scratch the surface. That's where I come in. Just bring me anything with meat in it. Just a little bit of bread. They don't want to bring it because it's free. What am I, a rabbit? What's up, doc? I'm bringing some real food. This is what I'm talking about. Beefy. More. You have diet salad? Isn't vegan and vegetarian the same thing? Question, is this water low calorie? Is this carrot vegan? Can you find out, please? This is so big. It's good. Trust me, I'm stuffed. I'll eat tomorrow. I've cut out sodas and juices. Oprah said that bread is bad for you. That's all a carb. See, I broke my diet. I'm just gonna do this so that you know that meat isn't good. I mean, ew. What would PETA say? Can I have some more? Do you have the pink controller? I have a DS at home and it's pink and I play that game where you take care of the dogs. What does this up button do? What am I doing here? Why do I have to kill him? That's so mean. I don't like this game. I don't know how to play. Wait, where am I? No, you're beating me. Can I be the girl character? Do you have the one where I just go like this? This one's too complicated. There's so many buttons. Do you have Super Mario? I don't know which one. Aren't they all the same? Am I doing this right? Oh, don't you have any games where you can go shopping like Mall Madness? Yeah, let's play some Modern Warfare. You ready for this little? Boom! How you like me now, son? Yeah, how you gonna deal with that? Cry to your mama, cause I'm the champion. What is this baby crap? I'm a hardcore gamer. Yeah. Dude, do you have any Mountain Dew? I lost! I'm so angry! Dear Santa, this year I want a lot. Set of professional makeup brushes. I want some of those cute lacy underwear, some makeup, some hair clip, pajamas, some shoes, skin cream, wrinkle-free cream, under eye cream, a new purse. The Marc Jacobs one was really nice. Mascara that I just saw in the commercial. Limited edition nail polish, Nintendo DS in pink, iTunes, a Mac computer, and I want Mac makeup as well. Purple socks.
Jewelry, and I want purses, and I want shoes, and I want a car, and I want money.
I will leave you out some vegan cookies. Your
Best friend XOXOXOXOXOXOXOXO.
Dear Santa, bring me some white t-shirts. I need a new pair of gym shoes. That's about it. Guys are simple. That's cool, Santa. You know, whatever. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that. Clicking that like button is like giving me a virtual hug. Please subscribe so you know every time I put up a new video. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr, and like me on Facebook. And remember, inside every dude is a beautiful dudette.
Do you have Super Mario? I used to play that with my big brother.
Now, welcome to our show, the beautiful, talented Jessica Delia. Sorry, I had to laugh before your introduction.
I appreciate it.
You're extremely funny. When one of our first, I don't know if it was our first or second show, and we were talking, we didn't have guests yet, we were just doing the show. We were talking about the transgender umbrella and cross-dressing being one of the parts of that spectrum. So I ran into one of your videos, and we used it actually as one of the clips. And
oh, awesome! I got to go back and see that.
Yeah, and I've loved you ever since. So I was like, I got to get on the show. You know, it's just the way you explain things. You're very funny, and it comes natural. You know, and
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, very, very funny, and it's just I don't know. I'm not much of. I don't laugh easy. I don't know. Comedy's not my thing unless somebody's really, really funny, and you make me laugh. So that's a good thing.
Thank you. That's really good to hear.
Yeah, I like that one that you did, which he was talking about, the one where you were talking about cross-dressers. We're not, freaks, this, that, the other. And what, you think we just sit around the house all day?
You're beating.
Molesting ourselves or something. I was like, oh my God, that's too funny.
No, you have the whole female persona to the T, and it's just like that. Just the video we showed now is just like, yep, that's exactly how it is.
Yeah,
totally. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the Q&A.
And I got the first question for you, Jess. When did you start cross-dressing, and how did you go about it?
I was 8 years old, and I was a latchkey kid. My sister and I, we would come home on the bus from school, and we would be home alone for a couple of hours. And I had, up until that point, I had dreams where I was dressed up as a girl, and it was normal. Everybody around me was just happy and normal. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And so I was about 8 years old when I first tried on one of my mother's dresses. And I remember exactly what it was. It's a fitted tank top white dress with black polka dots. And I took a brown bath towel, wrapped it around my head for hair, and I put on lipstick. And I did that a few times, but those were my first steps into it.
Wow. And if you study psychology, as I have studied abnormal child psychology and normal child psychology, there is a stage that children do go through that, and then they outgrow it. Some of us don't outgrow it, and it's because it's part of who we are. And I believe, again, it's a major spectrum. People don't understand it, and they realize, or they don't realize, that no two individuals are alike, and the spectrum is pretty wide, and there's different parts of the spectrum that each of us are on. So
Absolutely.
That leads me to my next question. The transgender umbrella has a wide spectrum. Where in this umbrella do you see yourself as?
I am outside of the umbrella. I'm under the umbrella. I am the umbrella. I'm just all over the place, really. Usually I tell people that I don't label myself. I don't, and if I have to choose a label, I do choose transgender, because I feel like I'm between male and female. I don't feel so female where I need to change my body to match that, but I have a strong feminine side and a strong masculine side, and I really love and appreciate both of them.
And I completely agree with you, because I believe, and I don't know if you've heard of, in ancient time, the Badash were called two-spirited individuals. And
Wankatay.
yeah. And I myself am pretty much in touch with both my sides, although I chose to wear this costume and this is how I feel most comfortable. But when I was growing up, I would like start dating and I would feel really masculine, and then like 6 months later I would start wearing makeup, and the girls I used to go out with were like, what the hell are you? You know, are you femme? Are you butch? I'm like, I don't know. It depends on the moon and the stars and all the things that are around me.
Well, God, it's like the same thing with me. Like, if you ever saw Homer Simpson and Bart Simpson, he's choking Bart. You know, it's kind of like my female side was always choking my male side. You know, you stupid idiot, go away. You know.
Yeah, and I had that when I was growing up. I was really ashamed of who I was, and I always wanted it to go away, and I hated it. I hated myself for it, and I went through a lot of bad times. And yeah, Mark, like you said, like that's how I feel like on a daily basis. Like I could feel really feminine 1 hour, and then the next hour I feel really masculine, and I love it. I really embrace just however I feel at the moment.
It's a beautiful thing, and I think the true essence, I'm very spiritual, and I think the true essence of spirit is that. It's like electricity. It's never constant. It's up or down. It's got little, spikes and whatever, and that's how the human spirit is. One minute you're feeling like, oh God, and the next minute I'm like, oh, right, where's the beef?
Yeah.
And that's good. I think that's very freeing, and I think humanity and nature would learn a lot if they got in touch with their true spirit, instead of trying to play these roles and fit in these gender boxes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly what that video, it's the second video like that I've done. Basically, it's making fun of all these gender stereotypes that people still, they carry like it's law. Like a guy has to act like this and a woman has to act like this. And if you act outside of that, then you're weird. Even for non-gender variant people, it's like sometimes they feel like they can't express another side of themselves, and that's why I make the video like that.
Yeah, and to tell you the truth, people that are that stagnant or that inflexible are very angry and bitter, and that's why people pop, depression pills and whatever, because they're not allowing themselves to be themselves, and they're trying to fit the mold that society has set up upon them.
Definitely. Exactly, and I think that's why sometimes society has pushed us as transgender individuals so hard to mutilate ourselves just to fit into that opposite box.
Right.
So being able to have a balance with that, I think, is really, really an awesome deal. Tell us about your wife and how she contributes to Jessica Who.
Wow. Well, my wife is just amazing. She's beautiful, she's sexy, she's funny, she's intelligent, independent. She completes me completely. We have so much fun together when we're not busy with our careers, and we have so much in common, and we love each other's interests, which is nice. And I'm so in love with her. And she helped out in the beginnings of my blog a lot. I basically had asked her permission, like, do you feel okay with me blogging, like putting my thoughts on the internet? And this was back in early 2009. It was right after we had gotten married. And she was like, of course. And she would help me with the editing of the posts, and she would occasionally write an article. And then in the beginnings of my videos, she would always do my makeup. I think in my first 4 or 5 videos, she did my makeup. And she would be behind the camera. She would help me if I forgot a line. She'd help me out with props. And, I'd bounce ideas off her. When I was editing, I would show her and see what she thought during the process. And nowadays, because she's so busy, she's working on her PhD, she doesn't help out quite as much, but she definitely supports 100%.
And that's important to have someone behind you like that, to have someone who is understanding. How did she react the first time you actually cross-dressed in front of her, or told her you were cross-dressed?
Well, when I told her, I downplayed it a lot, but I still told her what I did, and she was very accepting, and she was very like, okay, that's fine. And I told her really early in our relationship. And the first time, I don't quite remember the first time that I was ever dressed as a girl in front of her. But I mean, knowing her, I know she was very accepting and very caring, and and helping me kind of refine my look and things like that.
That's a beautiful thing. How many couples can feel that confidence to be able to be who they are in front of one another and support one another? There's either competition, ego involved, and that destroys marriages.
Yeah, definitely. She's really supportive, and that's really made all the difference in the world in my life.
So let me ask you, what do you wish to accomplish with Jessica Who? The whole persona, the video, the comedy acts.
Well, yeah, so my goals have changed. When I first started my blog, jessicawho.com, it was just a way for me to get my thoughts out there, for me to organize myself, because I had, like, several years before that, I had a blog before they were considered blogs, and I had written down experiences, and I was just writing. I had no idea what I was doing. I just had a website, and I figured, let me write down my thoughts and experiences. And before I knew it, I was getting emails of people saying, I feel just like you. I had a similar experience. And at the time, I still wasn't okay with myself. This was way before I met my wife. I was either senior in high school or a freshman in college. I don't remember. And I got so embarrassed and I felt so much pressure that I deleted it. So when I started it up again, I just wanted a way for me to express myself. I was still sorting out all my gender feelings. I didn't know who I was or where I was going or what it meant in my life. And soon after that, when I started again, it became about making a small community and also adding some comedy into it, because so many websites, rightly so, are very serious in nature and in tone. And I just felt like, well, let's have a laugh about it too, because, you know, we have to laugh at ourselves and at this whole process of figuring ourselves out, because there's a lot to laugh at and it'll make us feel better at the end of the day. And nowadays, really, and that spurred me into making videos. And when I started making videos, then I started gaining fans on YouTube who told me that I should do stand-up comedy. I would get comment after comment. You should do stand-up comedy. You should do live comedy. And I was like, I guess. And I started doing that, and I completely fell in love with doing live comedy. So now I do the live comedy, I do the videos, I do the blog, I started up a podcast. And really my goals are I want to educate people first while making them laugh. Like, to me, those go hand in hand. I never want to be boring or just, you know, doing what everyone else is doing, which again is awesome because that needs to be out there. But from my perspective, I'm never serious. I am always joking around. I always have been. And one of the best things for me, the quality about myself that I've always loved, is that I'm always able to make anybody laugh. And it doesn't have to be, it could be the worst situation in the world and I can crack a joke about it and everyone starts laughing. And so that's what I want to do. I want to make people laugh, and I want to pursue YouTube filmmaking and comedy in a way that allows me to spread this message of positivity and happiness, and it's okay to be yourself if you're gender variant or if you're not. So some people might feel like they're too nerdy for the rest of the world, but I like to tell people that it's okay to be yourself, love yourself, and be happy, because there's so many things already in this world that make us upset and sad. So I try to keep that positive attitude, and I just love making people laugh.
Well, you do a good job at it, that's for sure.
Laughter is the best medicine around, totally. And I truly believe that that's the best way to teach someone something. It's to be funny, so that, you know, that you break down their defenses and then they'll listen more.
Yeah, exactly. Like I look back at some of my inspirations are like Richard Pryor or some of like Sanford and Son, and some of these older comedies that in our society when we like there was more racial segregation in our culture as well, and these comedies and these stand-up acts broke down barriers. Like, oh wow, I didn't realize that Black people were just like me. So that's where I draw a lot of my inspiration, is to be funny without being a stereotype, but also to make fun of stereotypes.
Right, exactly. And, you know, that's funny you say about Sanford and Son and Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy. Those are all, like, my favorite comedians. And like you said about delving things with comedy. Like when I first came out and I started transitioning, started living as a woman and I started working as a woman. So at my job, I would get customers that would ask me, why would you do something like that? Why would you put yourself through all this? And I'm like, well, in order for me to keep the job, they were going to make me cut my hair. So this was the only way I could keep it. Oh, that's funny. And then it breaks the ice. So they're cool,
Yeah, that's
it
awesome.
helps.
Totally. One thing I didn't like when I was a female is that I had to carry around a bag. This pursing. I don't like holding on to anything. My ex-wife used to hold on to everything because I just don't like bags at all. I was really taken by this video that you have talking about bags. So we're gonna watch this video, which is, to me, was hysterical.
Thanks.
Hi everyone, it's Jessica Who, and yes, I'm a dude. It's a what's in my bag video, and I just want to tell you before we get started that I'm a simple girl. When I go out, I don't want to have too many things on me. I have to have a powder brush, and I have to have this compact thing. Gotta touch up. Of course, the lip gloss for after I have a snack. The mascara, I put on like 10 coats of this at least every hour because my eyelashes are long, but they're like straight, you know what I mean? Kind of like me. Okay, then I've got the tweezers, of course. Sometimes I like pluck a little mustache hair. This is the standard, I'm a YouTuber, I'm always filming my life. And I know this is a little old school, but you know me, I'm into all that retro stuff. Yes, I know it's a little odd to carry toilet paper in your purse, but listen, hear me out, okay? Sometimes, I'm wearing breast forms now, but most of the time I'm not. So I like stuff just a little tiny bit inside, just to give me a little bit of, if I'm crying or if I need to blow my nose. It's just multi-purpose. Every girl needs one of these in her purse. In case I want to read about some men's fashion, I've got this. And if I want to read about women's fashion, I've got Lucky. And I have to have Raphael everywhere I go. I have some moisturizer, because I don't want to prematurely get wrinkles and all that stuff, so I moisturize a lot. And I really recommend that. This is for some easier vlogging, and I can just hold it like this and be like, hey, what's up world, look what I'm doing and stuff. Of course, as a comedian, as a sketch writer, as a short filmmaker, I always need my notebook and my pen. I told you I was simple. Here's an easy way to apply your beard cover. You can kind of just dip it in there and just like slather it on. Gives you good coverage. Just be careful on the edges, you don't want to cut yourself. Speaking of tools, I carry this. Now this is multi-purpose again, in case I need to cut somebody, they're coming at me, I'm like, yeah, step back, son. I'm gonna slice you. I know I should get a taser, but everybody's got a taser, I gotta be different. I've got a bag within my bag, a nail clipper. I just got my nails done, do you like that? Oh yeah, I know, they're fantastic, aren't they? More tools, boring stuff. I always go out with my lady. Sometimes we want to get a little romantic, so I bring like a candle and a lighter. I don't like smoke or nothing, but I light it up, and I might smoke every now and again. Don't tell anybody. Shh. Speaking of romance, Oh snap, actually, these are the mediums. I need extra large. My class ring. Bam! Check that out. The keys to my pickup truck. I drive a pickup truck. I know that's so girly of me. My wallet. I'm not gonna show you because you're gonna steal my credit card information. I love baseball. It's my favorite sport. I always have to be ready for a game of catch. Even if I'm wearing heels, I can still run around those bases. Here's some scissors. I don't know why. I have a flashlight, and this is one of these you shake it and it turns on, don't get any ideas about that. And here's the wrench. Okay, so sometimes my 5 o'clock shadow comes back at 2 o'clock and I need to cover it up because it's a little embarrassing, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. No, it doesn't. I put this on and then I just go around and I say I have SARS or the bird flu or the, whatever flu is fashionable that month. I carry a couple different fragrances. If I'm feeling more masculine, then I put on the Lacoste Essential. And if I'm feeling a bit more feminine and dainty, then the Pure Poison by Dior. And sometimes I like to mix them up, like just like a random mess, because I'm already like throwing people off as it is. So like when they smell me, they're like, well, I cannot leave out blind people, because they can't tell. But if they smell like two different scents, then they kind of get that full effect as well. You gotta have a couple of ladies' feminine products on you and this isn't for me to be like, oh, I feel like such a real girl now. No, it's because, when you're out with your girlfriends, they might need to borrow something from you, and you have to be ready. If not, you're not a good friend. And of course, wherever I go, I want to be able to play games, and I'm a big time gamer. Right now I'm playing Paper Mario Sticker Star, so I always keep my 3DS, have one that matches each of my bags. And of course, duh, my phone. Nobody really calls me, but just in case I have an emergency and I gotta dial like 911 or whatever. And oh my god, is that it? Yeah, I hope you like this bag. It's really cute. And so in the comments below, I want you to tell me what you carry in your purse on a daily basis. Please remember to subscribe. If you've already subscribed, mwah, I love you very much. I really do. Hit that like button because it really, really helps me out. So that's about it for today. I hope you have a fantastic day. And remember, inside every dude is a beautiful dudette. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, see, when I was talking about wallet, purse, bags, and all these things, your girl's just like, she does the same thing. She has this little thing, but God knows she fits all the. It's like, is it ever ending? And it's only this big, but she just.
No.
And it weighs. You know, and I wonder why women have back problems. You know.
Well, you know, it's funny. The other day when I actually went out to dinner with that bag, and it's so big, and I only had a few things in it. I had my 3DS, my phone, my wallet, and not even my keys because my wife was driving. So it was funny, like the contrast between the video and what I really did.
Well, it's so funny when we're like out and I have this purse and I'm sitting there, I'm digging it, I'm pulling a brush, I'm pulling my wallet, I'm pulling my pills, I'm pulling this, I'm pulling that, and he's like, oh my God, where's all that stuff coming from?
And I swear it has an appetite because every time she tries to find the lighter, it's like, okay, so she has to take everything out to find the lighter, you know, and it's like, okay.
Hey, but the one good thing that I learned from that video was about carrying feminine hygiene products in my bag for others. I didn't think about that. A good idea.
Yeah, that always happens.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I'm like, okay, baby, we gotta go out and buy some tampons.
No, I hate tampons. I didn't like them when I was a female. Like them a lot less now that I transitioned to a dude.
Wasn't enough for you.
I don't even want them near me.
Anyway, so we'll move on to the next question. We feel you are very talented through your comedy. We see an avenue of education. How has the trans community accepted you, or have they?
Yeah, in general, I've been accepted by everybody, which has been awesome. Because initially, I started just promoting my videos on like the cross-dressing forums, and then I would branch out a little bit to more general transgender forums, and I've gotten fans from kind of everyone under the umbrella and outside of it, which has been awesome. And so I've gotten a few knuckleheads here and there who say that I shouldn't be joking about this or about that because I'm not transitioning. But the vast majority, especially higher up people, like people that run their own trans websites or have been on TV, have always been very accepting and receptive to what I'm doing.
Because it's
Absolutely.
funny. It's really funny. It's done in good taste, and those that can't take it, they have no sense of humor whatsoever. And there's a lot of people in the trans community that are very uptight.
A lot of them are very, oh God, shouldn't say this, shouldn't say that. You know, it's like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of, like the first time it happened to me, it really threw me off guard, and it made me sad because I never set out to put anybody down, and the only people that I would ever put down are ignorant or bigots and transphobic and homophobic people, and
Absolutely.
put down that attitude. But the first time that it happened, somebody actually, they went out of their way to make a video blog where they mentioned me and saying how they need to put a stop to what I'm doing, and it hurt me. Like I felt like a sinking feeling in my stomach because I was like, what? Why are you saying this about me? But it happens every now and again now, and I'm just like, okay, well, because the way I feel is like anything could be made fun of within good taste. I never go for shock value, and I don't do something just to be mean-spirited. That's not my type of humor, and it never will be. So I understand there's going to be always people that don't find me funny or don't like what I'm doing, and that's okay. But I definitely always wanted to be known that I'm not putting down anyone in the trans community, regardless if they wear one article of clothing or they are transitioning or have transitioned.
And it shouldn't matter because, I mean, the trans community, actually, in my eyes, we need more girls like you.
Exactly.
You know? And it's like, if you ever watch Saturday Night Live, how many skits do they do where Justin Timberlake's dressed up like a female, you know, but do they piss and moan about that? Pardon my French. But
Right, yeah.
you know, no,
That's why I'm hoping to get on a sketch show one day, because I'm like, I'm gonna get paid to wear dresses and wigs. That's gonna be awesome.
Exactly. You know, there's always going to be haters in the world. There's always going to be
Absolutely.
people that are going to try to rain on one's parade. You just got to keep doing what you're doing, and you are part of that transgender umbrella.
Absolutely.
You know, and a lot of the transgender elites don't like to associate themselves with cross-dressers. Well, I'm sorry, we all started off cross-dressing at one point or
I've
another.
had so many arguments about that
So,
in like on chat sites that I was in, and people are like, "Oh, I've never cross-dressed." Okay, well, let's see. You were born a boy.
Right. The first time you wore a dress.
The first time you wore a dress, you had your junk cut and you had breasts. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It starts off. We all start off.
It's all baby
in the
steps,
cross-dressing
and
aspect
some
of
people go
everything.
further and some people just stay that way, and that's all beautiful. You know, we have to learn to respect
Absolutely.
one another and stop judging one another. How can we expect the world to accept us if those in the umbrella itself don't accept each other? It's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed early on, because when I was doing the videos, I wanted to express these things that made me sad all these years, like having a female voice or walking in heels, and I had no idea that there were all these divisions, first of all within the trans community and then within the LGBT communities. So it's like it's already a small community, and to divide it up even further, it just doesn't make any sense.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more.
Like, it's nothing new to me, because I'm Hispanic, and I know that, like, some Mexicans don't like Puerto Ricans and vice versa, or, you know, Cubans might not like Colombians. So it's not new to me, but it's still equally ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
We're human beings, you know. We're spirits having a human experience, and we need to learn to get along.
And we love everybody.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely.
But as you were talking about your stand-up comedy, here is one of your stand-up comedy clips.
Ready for this, because coming up to host the show, we have a woman that I would totally leave my girlfriend for. Ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful Jessica Who.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah. Welcome to that time of the month comedy show, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Give yourselves a hand. Yes, I'm Jessica Who, and yeah, I'm a dude. So, yeah, just to explain that, people always wonder what the mindset is behind a guy dressing like a woman. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick explanation. We got a little mixed crowd. Ladies in the audience, think about the feelings that you have when you look at a Victoria's Secret catalog and the women look so good that you want to buy the lingerie. Now, men in the audience, think about the feelings you get when you look through a Victoria's Secret catalog and the women look so good that you want to masturbate. Now discuss. Let's do it. But I am married to a woman, believe it or not. And when we first met, I knew she'd be a perfect match for me, but I wasn't sure that she knew what she was getting into. And we started talking on our first date. And she leans over to me, and I'm like, so what do you look for in a guy? And she's like, well, I really like a man that's in touch with his feminine side. Jackpot. But she is supportive of me, in her own way, maybe a little too supportive, because the other day she also told me, she's like, you know, honey, you actually look better as a girl than you do as a guy. Now, how am I supposed to feel about that? And as I was getting ready to leave the house today, she looks me up and down, and she's like, what are you, some kind of hoochie mama? And I think it's funny because she wasn't upset that I was dressed in women's clothing. She was mad that I was dressed like a whore. But believe it or not, it was a little tough getting out of the house, getting here. It always is. I gotta like pump myself up for it. But for some reason, my normal pep talks don't work when I'm dressed like this. You know what I mean? I look in the mirror and I'm like, all right, come on now, man up, grow a pair. Stop acting like a little bitch. This doesn't work. And then we parked here. I got out of the car, and then I hear somebody screaming in my direction like, "Hey, looking good. Nice lace. Girl, you so pretty." I'm like, hold up a second. Do you know who you're talking to? You better go with someone with that noise. Wait a second. You really think I'm pretty? It's tough finding shoes in my size because I wear a 12 in men's, which converts to a woman's, holy shit, that's a huge fucking foot. Whenever I look online, the only things that I can find in my size are like thigh-high black latex boots with like a clear platform heel. And all I want is a sensible 4-inch stiletto. All right, so how you guys feeling? Woo! Are you guys ready for your first act of the night? Yeah! All right, I want you to get the round of applause going strong.
Definitely hilarious.
So that crowd was so dead at first, and that's the thing about stand-up is the host, the first person up usually has to bear the brunt of warming up the crowd. So I'm so embarrassed that like the first few jokes they just bombed, and when I do them at other times they've gotten lots of laughs, but I feel like I gotta leave that clip up so like people know that I'm okay with bombing. That's just part of comedy. But I'm sitting there like those are good jokes.
They didn't have.
Maybe I didn't deliver them the right way, but whatever.
I thought it was funny.
Yes, I thought so too. But the thing with these comedy clubs, in the beginning, people aren't drunk enough, and they're kind of like,
absolutely,
and then you have to. And I think also it's that stereotype. They see a dude in a dress, and right away they're like, oh, they're very, and then you start breaking their barriers, and then they're like,
absolutely,
and then they start laughing, and then so
yeah, absolutely
expected.
Well, like John Leguizamo, he did a couple of stand-up routines where he was dressed. I mean, John Leguizamo looks damn good as a woman. Have you ever seen any of his stand-up stuff where he's, oh God, I can't remember the actual name of it, but very funny. He like totally decked himself out, and he was like, he was going on and on about all that stuff. It was funny as hell.
I gotta see that. Yeah, if you have a link to that, send it to me. I would love to see that.
Definitely.
You have nice legs, by the way.
Thank you. That's I get that a lot, so it makes me feel good.
How long ago was that video? Because if it was like 3 years ago, I was the dude yelling at you.
That was sometime last year.
Okay, so then
sometime
that wasn't
early last year. I'm trying to see if I can find the date here. But sometime early last year.
Yeah. That was very good. But let's go on a little serious note here. What message do you have for those individuals who judge cross-dressers, and what advice can you give those who are thinking about cross-dressing?
Well, I think cross-dressers get judged a lot from, well, first, like, since we were already talking about it, I see in the trans community in general, there's like a phrase that like, you're just a cross-dresser, which has been, I've had that directed at me and others have as well. And I think that is like, oh, you're not legitimate, or your gender identity doesn't mean as much as mine. And that, that's silly. It's kind of like, we all have some sort of gender variance, and some people, it's to a degree where they need to do something more about that. And then also I think from mainstream society, cross-dressers probably get looked at as either crazy or perverts. That's a big one, like a straight man wearing women's underwear, that makes him a pervert. I mean, you see it on the internet, even as progressed as we are now. The other day on Reddit, one of the top upvoted pictures was of some dude at Walmart, and he was wearing a thong under his jeans, and it was like pink and purple, and people were commenting about how he's a freak or he's a pervert, and people judge like that, and it's like, it's, I don't know, like I kind of just make fun of those things, and I've never been in a situation where I've had to defend cross-dressing in person, because I've actually been lucky enough where all my friends and family have been extremely supportive, but those are the types of judgments that happen, or like you're cross-dressing just for the humor aspect. That gets a lot too. But I think for someone who's judging anybody negatively, I think what needs to be done is you have to try to view life from that person's perspective and maybe try to relate to them and see why they are who they are and get to know them as a person. Because once you get to know anybody, you can see the true essence of them. And for people who are thinking about cross-dressing, I know I get a lot of emails personally for somebody, they don't know where to get started. And really, you just have to kind of just jump in whatever you feel comfortable in. If you just want to wear underwear, then just buy some underwear and wear it and see how it makes you feel. And, you know, if you want to wear a dress, then just do it. You know, it's kind of like Nike. Just do it.
Just do it.
You know what a lot of people don't understand?
No other way.
This is very biological, and people do not understand this, and that's why there's a spectrum. Depending on the hormonal bathing that took place in utero will depend where you are in that spectrum.
Absolutely.
I work with autistic kids, and that is a neurological impairment that took place in utero. Some kids are totally very high in the spectrum of autism. They don't even speak. They can't give you eye contact. There are other kids that are autistic. They'll gaze. They have a hard time attending to a task. I believe the same thing happens in the transgender umbrella. Whether you feel that you have the need to wear underwear, it's not perverted. That's just something in the development of the brain that your body needs. And people need to learn to respect that it's not psychological, it's biological in nature.
Well, see, I did the same thing for many, many years. I'd say for at least 5 years, I was going through this whole back and forth thing with, I was just basically cross-dressing. And then I went through this whole back and forth thing, and I'm like, God, I can't live this double life anymore. I gotta, this isn't me. So, I had panic attacks, all kinds of problems. So what I did was I started, shaving my legs. I started doing things that I could hide from the general world. Kept my toes painted, stuff like that. And on a regular basis, my toes were always painted. My body was always shaved. Nobody knew, was none the wiser. I was wearing panties under my jeans, it's like... Hey, who cares? I mean, but it didn't make me a freak.
It's whatever makes you comfortable. And some people, all they can do because of their life situation maybe is to wear women's underwear. And that gives them relief. That gives them some sort of gratification.
That's very true.
And that's what,
it did. It gave me that comfort that I needed to get me through the day because I was able to feel that feminine side of me because I needed to endure that feminine side of me versus the masculine side.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, because there are some people that like will wear women's underwear for sexual gratification, but there's also people that have teddy bears for sexual gratification. We don't look at everybody who has a teddy bear as a weirdo. Right. So it's like, it's like some people like to take the most harsh or negative stereotype of something and then just apply it to everybody.
Right.
Like I said, they're haters and they're miserable and they love to...
Well, I hate to say it about the teddy bear thing. The only time that you should worry is if you go to someone's house and they got a teddy bear with the crotch cut out. Then you might want to worry.
Yeah. And like I said, to each their own,
But to each their own. We're not one to judge.
Yeah, exactly.
So what has been the most gratifying moment in your life?
Definitely my wedding day was the best. I started crying as soon as my wife walked into the church, and I could not. That was the first time in my life that I had no control over my emotions. Like I just kept crying even though I didn't want to anymore, and it was such a happy day for me. And when I look back on it, in the pictures and the videos, it was great. It just kind of solidified what we already had, and enabled us to move forward with our relationship and into what we have now.
That's awesome. Maybe a stupid question, but who wore the wedding dress?
She did. I had a white tuxedo. I always wanted to wear all white on my wedding.
Awesome.
Beautiful. So how does your friends and family react to Jessica Who?
My friends and family have been incredible. The first person that I ever came out to was my mom, and this was at the end of 2009. I had posted one video, and I had several months of blogging, and I was already married, so I figured, okay, this is the time. So at least we throw out the question, am I gay? And I just felt more comfortable in my whole gender identity to let her know. And she was awesome. I took her to lunch. It was just us, and she had a couple of questions, but she was really positive about it. Last year, at the end of last year, I finally came out to my sister, and that went really well. And my wife has told her family, so my mother-in-law and my sisters and brother-in-law, they know, and they're really cool. And a lot of our friends have found out through YouTube, because I also do videos. I do comedy as a guy on my channel, Laugh with Lulu, and because I guess I'm logging on from the same computer, they would get linked in the suggested video. So some of my friends and family would watch a Laugh with Lulu video, and then the next one to play would be a Jessica Who video. And so they'd be like, okay. But they've all been great about it. I haven't heard one negative anything. That, I hear nothing but positive. You're so pretty and you're so funny, and this is awesome that you do this. And so I've been very lucky and fortunate to have such a supportive friends and family network, and that's made me stronger, and it allowed me to keep moving forward. And also, I feel because of this, I have the responsibility to spread the positive message and to let people know that it is possible for you to find someone who will love you for you, and it is possible for your friends and family to accept you once they realize and get to know who you are and what you're doing in life.
I think a lot of it has to do with your attitude, because most people walk around admitting this, like, people are going to hate me, they're not going to accept me. So if you have that kind of mentality, obviously that's the kind of reception you're going to get. I believe we're mirror images of what we put out is what we receive.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Like, because I get a lot of messages and emails like, oh, I need to come out to my wife or to my parents. How should I do it? And because it's that varies so wildly. So I just try to give general advice, like just be confident in your speech. Make sure that you know who you are and what you represent. Because if you're not confident and you're unsure of yourself, and it looks like you're not even accepting yourself, then that other person's not gonna be receptive to what you're telling them. So I always say, first and foremost, be sure and be confident.
You have to be ready yourself so that the other person is ready. If you're like, I think I'm going to do this, but I'm not sure, and I know you're going to hate me already, even if you're not saying it, you're thinking that. That's what we're transmitting, and everything is energy. So what you put out is what you receive, and I'm a big believer in that.
Absolutely.
Also, you mentioned earlier that they thought maybe you were gay, and that's another stereotype. Just because somebody identifies as a female or has feminine tendency does not make them gay. Sexuality and gender identity are two different things.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that took me a long time to realize, and I know it's still something that society in general just doesn't understand still, and so that's definitely what I always try to emphasize. And I on my YouTube videos, I always get these comments like, wait, you're married to a girl? And I'm like, yeah.
You really confuse them that way. It's like with us, I was born a female, transitioned to male. Jessica was born a male, transitioned to female, and here we are, heterosexual. It's like, but that's confusing. Don't you like being?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, in the relationship we're in currently, we're heterosexual, but technically we're pansexual, bisexual.
And it's funny enough because I'm very much attracted to the male, but people think, oh, you just did what you did because you want to be with, it's a whole, people just don't get it.
No.
They really don't. But
it'll take
many
years before I think they get
a lot of more evolution of the planet and of the mind and heart to take place.
It's like when we tell people that, he was born a female, I was born a male, they're like, well, wait, how do you guys have sex? And it's like, well, hello, how do you and your girlfriend or wife have sex? It's like...
Same thing.
Didn't you learn about the birds and the bees
that
when you were
always annoys
5?
me. It's like people, they just want to delve right into, like, your sexual activities. Like, they have the right to know all that stuff. It's like... It's like, why do you care? It's like, do you randomly go up to people at the grocery store and be like, how do you have sex?
Wait, let me pull out my notes.
Yeah.
Or here's a really empowering and yet funny video that will show the insecurities of both men and women, and it's true. It's like men are from Mars or Venus, which one was that saying?
Women are from Venus and men are from Mars.
But you know, whether you're born a female, whether you're born a male, we all have insecurities, and I really got a kick out of this video, so we wanted to share it.
All right, Jess, so we got about 10 minutes before we need to get out of here. All right? Okay, sounds great. I am so excited that we're being honored by YouTube. Man, I am not muscular at all. Yeah, I was definitely blessed with man shoulders. Why don't men have more options as far as clothing? Don't get me started. Women have too many clothing options. I don't even know where to begin when I go shopping. You know, no matter how hard I try, I can never grow a full beard. Always comes in patchy. Ugh, you could still see my beard shadow even through all this makeup. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I have gorilla hands. My eyebrows are way too thin. My eyebrows aren't arched enough. Man, my butt is way too big for a guy. I am not curvy at all. I'm like 6 o'clock, straight up and straight down. My chin is practically non-existent. My huge head barely fits into this wig. Oh, I am so ugly. I am so ugly. Whoa, whoa. Hold up, Jess. Don't say that. You're beautiful. Aw. Thank you, Lou. You're beautiful too. Really? You think so? I don't think so. I know so.
That was fun. That was really, really
So
fun.
I love that video. That's one of my favorites because I didn't have to put any effort into writing it because those are all thoughts that I have and I had and I still have. So it's like as a guy, I'm upset that I can't grow like a really cool full beard to post on the internet. But then as a girl, I'm upset that my beard's too thick around this area and I have to cover it up with a lot of makeup and it still shows through. So everything in that video is completely true from me.
And I think it's true for a lot of regular men and women. You know, you look in the mirror and one's never happy. You know, and guys have all these insecurity. I don't have this, I don't have that, and females do too. And it's true. So
for me, it's like double the stress and anxiety because but now, you know, as I've moved forward and stuff, I have less of those insecurities, and I'm really at a place where I've accepted my body, my shape, everything, and it's made me a lot happier.
Well, you shine. Your personality shines. Your persona.
Definitely.
I mean, you're beautiful inside and out. And totally.
Yes, you are. Both ways.
Yes, that's what I said. Both inside and out.
No, I'm talking
It's
about
true.
both ways.
Yeah, male and
My
female. Yeah,
wife actually says that I
The two of
look
you.
better as a girl than I do as a guy.
No, I think you look pretty good both ways. So, in your opinion, why do you think people cross-dress? And do you think that many cross-dressers end up transitioning fully?
Well, I think there are a lot of reasons why people cross-dress. Like, of course, there's people that do it for kind of because it's like a sexual thrill, and for a lot of people, I think it starts like that, and then maybe it moves into something else because it's something that's taboo and exciting, and some people still carry that with them. And then there are some people that cross-dress to relieve stress or to kind of build up this ideal female image that they have. And that was something that I went through in my teenage years, is I wanted to dress like my ideal girl looked. And then, of course, there's people that cross-dress for entertainment purposes, whether it's sketch comedy or for a drag queen show. And then there's other people that dress up to match their gender identity. And that's what I do, you know. I do it because I have a very big feminine side, and and what's weird with me is sometimes when I dress up and present as female, I actually feel more masculine, and vice versa. When I'm dressed up as a guy and presenting that way, then I'll feel really feminine. So it's just so a swirling of emotions. And then I guess for people that decide to transition, now I've experienced this from a friend's point of view, or there were a couple of cross-dressers that before I was blogging, they had websites up, and I was I would read their websites every time, and I would get a lot of advice, and they inspired me to do my own writing and go from there. And a couple of these people ended up eventually transitioning, and so it's like that worried me at first in a way, like in the sense that like, oh well, if I push and I explore my feminine side too much, then eventually I'm going to get to a place where there's no other option but to transition, and it's just going to be just a build up. And it took me a while to realize that, well, no, like that's just there's just a happy place that you find, and you have to find it. So people that end up transitioning, they weren't cross-dressers to begin with. They just needed to keep exploring till they got to a point where they discovered who they were, and so they kind of use that as a tool or whatever to kind of dig around and see where they are. So that's another thing that I often get questions about, and I encourage people to take it, within reason, to take things to a point. Do your makeup as well as you can. Go out, go somewhere safe that you can be yourself, and try on clothes and see where you are and see where this fits into your life. Because some people want to transition or some people want to cross-dress full time. There are people that don't transition, but every single day they're presenting as a woman. And then there's people that do it sporadically or whatever. So it's just something that you need to find and just discover where you are, really.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And that's the beauty of
So
it. It's
true.
a journey. It's a journey, and it's an individual journey for everyone. And I truly believe that the true two-spirit individuals are those that are able to go back and forth and don't have to commit to one. I think in the beginning, when we first find out about this, it's like we want to go from 0 to 60, and we have to get our surgeries, and we have to this, because we're trying to fit into society. And now I know, after I did what I did in 2003, not that I regret what I did, but
it's a little late to regret it now.
I chopped things out, and, I've gone full force, but I could be happy still doing the back and forth when I was younger. But again, hindsight is 20/20, and sometimes it's like peer pressure, and you get the whole, well, you have to do this and you have to do that, or you're not this. And the message here is, think about what you're going to do before you do it, and don't do it for all the wrong reasons.
Absolutely, because there is no going back. Once you make the changes, it's very hard to go backwards if you want to. And I mean, I don't know who would want to, but I mean, once you make that that decision to move forward and to start the hormones and do things like that, once your body changes are permanent.
Right. And then there's a lot of health concerns. We at the moment we're not thinking about it because we have tunnel vision. It's like a horse with blinders. I want to go forward, but there's a lot of health complications. There's a lot of things that take place. So
yeah, I had to challenge myself. When I was still a young college student, in freshman and sophomore, I had to go there in my mind, like, well, do I want to transition? Do I want to become fully female? Even though it scared me in the sense that, like, well, maybe I do want that, but I had to make that leap and see where I was, because, I needed to figure that out, and so I can move forward. And even when I did figure that out, it was still a while before I was really comfortable with myself. It's only been really not even 4 years where I've been fully comfortable with myself, and it's only been the last year or so where I've been comfortable enough in my makeup and my fashion and my presentation. So it's like, but if I didn't test myself back then maybe I'd still be wondering, like, oh well, should I transition, or is that what I want? And so it's scary to think about, but at the same time you kind of have to do it to get it out of the way. And I guess maybe there's there's some people that won't even figure it out till late, but it's definitely something that you have to push yourself on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, we're so glad we were able to have you on the show, and I think
Yes.
those that are watching the show are going to be very impressed, and they're going to learn a lot, and they're going to feel comfortable in themselves because that's what you put out, and you help others feel confident, and that's a beautiful thing.
Well,
So,
thank you. I really appreciate you having me. It was great, and if you ever want me on the show again, I'm available. So.
Definitely. Maybe we'll have your other persona on the show.
Oh yeah, and maybe my dog too.
There
Oh,
you
hey!
go. Everybody's got a
Everybody's
dog.
got a
This was
dog.
quiet. The past few shows we've either had a parrot that kept going beep. I'm like, what is that
You know,
noise?
I'm so deprived. I want a freaking animal.
Look, you've got me already.
Yeah.
All the hair and stuff. Yeah, you
Ah.
pet me all you want.
No, I don't want that kind of animal. I want one that doesn't talk back.
Anyway, thank you so much. Yeah, and if you
Yes,
you
thanks,
could
Jess.
probably have what is your male name again? Lou? What was it?
Yeah, Louis.
Louis. That'll be interesting. Have Lou.
Definitely.
That'd be
Jessica's
great.
brother.
Yeah.
All right.
Jesse's brother.
Yeah. Jesse's other half.
Okay, well, it could be that too.
Yeah. A two-spirited individual, which I think is awesome.
Yes. Actually, that one video that you did, I liked how you had yourself together. It was really cool.
Thanks.
That was
You had your male side on one side and your female side on the other, and they were both together in the same frame.
Yeah, those are
really
tough to do, but when it comes out right, I love it because, it's kind of like what happened in me. Like I had the male part of me and the female part of me always butting heads and fighting, and now it's at a point where, they love each other. So it's a happy ending.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
the balance of the yin and the yang, and I think that's what we're here to do on this planet. It's to learn how to balance our male and female energy.
Yes.
Totally.
Wow.
So, once again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you. It was great to meet you and hang out.
Great to meet you too and hang out. I'm going to be sending you a Facebook request.
Okay, cool.
I got to find you first. What's
My non-fan page is facebook.com/comedian Louis Barra.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Or I can find. Yeah, I think I could find you too. I'll find Mark and go from there.
Yeah, you can probably find Mark, or you can find me under Jessica O'Donnell.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. Take care. Well, we want to thank everybody for watching
Yes.
once again, and
Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us.
Yes, an
Thank you for having me.
amazing individual, very funny, and just a great heart. Well, we're going to end the show with one of my originals called "This Game Called Life." Once again, thank you. We love you, but remember to always love yourselves too.
Mwah. Good night.
Good night.
Can't you feel it? Uneasiness. Can't quite explain it. It's such a mess. This game that we call life. All night. Each single morning you get up and work to earn an honest keep. The bills keep piling up, your pay is less. Get tired and confess, cannot go